Hi everyone, I'm so glad you're here. So today's little flow is for when you're really feeling like you have tightness in the hip area, and even kind of into the outside of the hips. So if you've been sitting a lot, or maybe you went hiking, running, things like that, this flow will be perfect to kind of stretch out through the IT band, so through the outer hips, um, and just kind of hopefully loosen that up so that you feel a little bit better. So you won't need anything for this practice. Just go ahead and grab your mat, and we will begin on all fours. So go ahead and find your wrists under your shoulders, knees under your hips. First, I want you to really find that alignment with the crown kind of reaching forward. Pull that belly button into the spine. So as you let the belly kind of fall towards the mat, the shoulders broaden open and you kind of look forward. Don't let that belly just drop down, to hold the integrity in the navel. And then exhale as you really arch through the spine. So doing a couple cat cows here just to kind of awaken through the spine. Do this in your time. So inhale, really broaden across the collarbones, look forward. And exhale, really push the ground away, really round through that upper body and pull the tailbone down towards the mat. Now to maybe add some circles into the hips, just kind of making a little circle with the back of the tailbone there. Just kind of getting into the hip sockets, and then go the opposite direction. Good. And when that feels complete, we will kind of get deeper into that hip socket. So tuck those left toes, and you can tuck both toes actually for more stability. And we'll take the left knee out to the side, and then take the foot up and then down. So take it out to the side, up, and down. Keep the integrity of the abdominal pulled in here. And then reverse the direction. So bring the foot up and then out and then down. Up, out, and down. One more. Up, out, and down. Good. And then bring the knee into the nose, and then just cross that left knee over the right and just kind of sink into kind of like a little bit of a child's pose here, just until you feel that deeper stretch into the left hip. So maybe it's just right here, wherever it is that you kind of begin to feel that stretch, and just breathe into it. 2 breaths here. Good. On your next inhale, slowly lift the body up, and we'll go ahead and uncross the knees just to kind of balance out through the hips. And through the spine, do a cat-cow here. So broaden through the collarbones as you inhale. Exhale, really push the mat away, round through the upper body. Inhale to neutral spine. We'll move to the right leg, so tuck the toes for stability, and then reach that right foot up to the sky. And we'll take the right foot out, or the right knee out, down, and then back up. So out, down, and back up. Out, down. Good. Reverse the direction. Down, out. So kind of getting a little bit of strength here, but also just really getting all directions of the hip. So our hip moves 6 different directions. Good. So once you've done 3 in each direction, We'll cross the right knee this time on top of the left, and then just slowly sit back, kind of like you're coming into a child's pose, but until you feel that deeper stretch in the hip. And it might feel different. You might not feel the same on this side. Like for me, I actually feel it more on my left. So just notice wherever you are at today. Good. One more breath. And we'll gently come up, uncross the legs. Good. And just come into a downward facing dog. Just kind of to stretch it out, walk it out here. Bending one knee and then the other. Getting into the hips. Good. And then inhale, reach that right leg up, three-legged dog, and bend that right knee. I want you to really open the hip. Don't worry about keeping the shoulders square here. Really open the hip up towards the sky, really feeling that deeper stretch on that right hip flexor. And then bring that right foot in between the hands. Place that foot down. Lower the left foot if you need to grab a blanket or anything, padding for that knee. You can. And I want you to just come up onto the thigh. So bring the hands to the thigh. Kind of bring the hips on top of the left knee so that you're stacked a little bit more. You might need to bring that right foot in. And just kind of push away with the hands. And then pull the chin into the chest. As you do that, you should feel the length through the tailbone and feel that deep stretch on the front of the hip. So kind of getting into the hip flexor as well as the psoas. So we're really going to stretch all sides of the hip this evening or morning, whenever you're practicing this. So one more deep breath here. Good. And we'll just gently release, bringing one hand down and then the other, and just gently step back to a downward facing dog. Walk it out. Let the body express any kind of movement. If you want to do a vinyasa, please do. Good. Inhale that left leg up now, three-legged dog. Bend that left knee. Really open the knee up towards the ceiling. Really feel that deeper stretch. And then bring that left foot in between the hands. And then bring the hands on top of the left thigh. Again, you might have to readjust. And then push into the thigh. Bring the chin into the chest. That should automatically bring that tailbone down. Feel that deeper stretch. I forgot to mention this on the other side, but if you want to keep that back foot tucked for stability, that always helps me. So either way, if you want the foot grounded or tucked. And really push away here. One more deep breath. Good. And then bring one hand down, and then the other. And step back to that downward facing dog. Good. And this time we're going to bring that right knee, just bring it to the right thumb. Almost like you're going to come into pigeon. Don't untuck those back toes. We're going to get deeper into the IT band here. So that right foot can come in as far as it needs to. I want you to just push the hips up like you're coming back into a downward facing dog. Maybe you keep that right knee bent. You should feel this into the IT band. So push the hips up. If you can, you might need to like come up onto the tippy fingertips and just pull that right hip back in space. Good. And then slowly lower that right knee down, kind of look forward. And exhale, push back, coming in back into that stretch. Good. Right hip kind of pulls back here. One more time, just kind of lowering that right knee down. And push back. So let's hold here for a few breaths, just getting deeper into that IT band. If you want a deeper stretch, bring that left hand kind of right under the face and then reach that right arm up. So this is pretty intense. You could also even get a block here if you wanted to maybe lift the body up. Good. And bring that right hand back down if it's up. And we'll just gently walk forward. Good. We'll come into a full pigeon just for a few breaths here. So you can either stay up or just fold forward. Good. Breathing into that right hip. Pulling and kind of leveling out those hips. My right hip always wants to kind of pull forward. So just kind of pulling that right hip back. One more breath. And gently begin to press into the palms, tuck the back toes, lift into downward dog. Keep that right knee bent at first, and then walk it out. Good. Moving to the other side, left knee to left thumb. Again, keeping those back toes tucked, coming right into that IT band stretch. So just push the body up like you're coming into that downward facing dog. Maybe this is different. This hip is a lot tighter for me. So maybe not straightening that right or that left leg all the way. And then just bring that left knee back down. So moving pretty slowly here. The IT band isn't meant to, like, it's pretty thick. It's not meant to stretch per se, but it can get really tight. It can cause a lot of injuries if we don't stretch it. So then come back down. We'll come back up and hold. So maybe you're just here. If you want to come up onto the fingertips, see if you can straighten that leg. If you want to bring the right hand under the face, and then that left arm comes up. So that's an option. For me today, I am going to keep my hands grounded. One more breath here. Good. And then we'll gently come down into pigeon. Untuck those back toes, getting those hips square and coming down for a few breaths. One more breath. Good. And gently press into the palms, tuck the toes, and push up to downward facing dog. Keep that left knee bent at first, and then walk it out. Beautiful. And gently lower the knees down to the mat, and take the hips to one side, feet to one side, coming onto our backs. So we have one more stretch. It's almost like what we did in the beginning with the knees crossed, but this will kind of go a little deeper and we will feel it more in the hip. So go ahead, cross the right leg over the left, lift the feet off the mat. Grab your right foot with the left hand and then grab the left foot with the right hand. So flex the feet And maybe bring the feet up a little bit if that's a little easier. And then pull the feet towards your body. This will be a pretty intense stretch. If you can't grab the feet, maybe even just holding on to the shins or the knees, even the ankles might be a good option. And one more breath. Good. And gently release. Uncross the legs and windshield wiper the knees left and right just to kind of here. And moving to the other side. Cross the left leg over the right. Lift the feet off and then grab wherever is most comfortable. So the feet, the ankles, the shins, maybe even just the knees. This is a pretty intense stretch, so just breathe and listen. One more breath. Good. And gently release. Bring the feet down. Again, neutralize through the hips, just kind of rocking the knees side to side. Bring the knees into the chest. And we'll just go ahead and rock up to seated. Good. And I hope that this little hip stretch felt good on the hips and that you're a little less tight, maybe a little less tension through the outer and inner hips. Please let me know any feedback in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. Again, if you have any requests as well, please let me know. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. I send you love and light. And as always, share on lightly. Namaste.